Hey, everybody. All right, we are in our home.
Our home.
It's our home. So I decided today that these videos would be called The Real Romi. Kind of funny off the real L word, but The Real Romi.
Real,
Real.
R-E-E-L.
REEL. So that's kind of the direction I'm going to move forward with these. So welcome to The Real Romi. And I have Jenny with me. She is my second interview for this YouTube page. And I'm so happy and so grateful that she was willing to chat with me. As many know, Jenny and I have spent the last year living together, engaged, healing, all the things, 17 years of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And recently have been working on transitioning back into our friendship and calling off the engagement and still figuring out what direction is next for us. But I think a big part of all of this is that I believe everybody comes into each other's lives for a reason. So I don't question that, like, Jenny and I becoming friends 17 years ago, we had like a really connected walk in San Francisco that like we both have forever remembered. And it was just what bonded us. And so we've had this beautiful friendship for so long. And I do think that the last year we were able to really, I think our therapist said it best because now we see the same therapist. We were able to hold a mirror for one another to really heal and create a space for one another to really heal. When we got together this last time,
we were a hot mess.
We were not in the best emotional space. Like, she was going through her own breakup. The mic is bringing my shirt down. I was at a funeral for my dad's first wife, and I was home, and we were both we were coming out of some heavy things. Drinking, we found each other, and I'm glad we found each other. Like, I would never take back, personally, us connecting through that time, because what happened after has been
beautiful.
It has. It's been really beautiful. We are not the same person.
Nope.
That we've known for 17 years and that came together a year ago. So I'm just going to start and hope that our dogs lay the fuck down because they suck right now.
Wow. Staring.
Yeah. All right. So we're just going to jump right in this. Just for you guys at home, Jenny is fresh.
Oh yeah.
Real fresh in the healing space. I started doing work about 2 years ago with our therapist. I started doing some like deep dives, and I was a little bit ahead on my health journey and my walk with like this kind of stuff. I'm still in it, but Jenny really dived into it recently. And so this is really fresh and raw. And our experience coming out of this last chapter together is a little bit different and unique to both of us. So
yeah, I think it's probably 6 to 8 months ago I started. 6 months maybe?
Yeah.
So still very fresh.
So we're going to get through this. I asked her earlier to do this with me, and and she cried.
I cried.
And we weren't
That's part of it. We'll get into that.
We weren't sure we were going to be here, but we're here. So let's just dive right in. So Jenny, I'm going to just start with the questions. What started the healing journey for you over this last year?
So I've been in a few relationships, and I have a pattern of being a massive avoidant. I've been with great people and fucked it up, and I get to a point where I'm just completely avoidant, and I check out of the relationship, and they mostly end because of me. And it was a pattern that I started to recognize in my last relationship. It got to a point, she stayed with me longer than she should have. She tried, she did the work. She wanted me to, get help and do that. And I was just against it. And I was I needed to do it on my own. No one can ever tell you to do it, to do the work and to really look inward. And
I think that's an important thing, though, is that her wanting you to get there, because I believe she was already doing that kind of work.
Yep.
And waiting for you to kind of catch up and do that work.
And waiting.
Yeah. And it had to happen on your own.
Yeah. I mean, I gained 40 pounds. I was drinking. I was unhealthy. I was not working out. Like, I was just, I don't know. I saw a picture in February. Like, you and I started in like April. I saw a picture from February and I was like, oh my God, like, who the fuck is this person? And also, thanks, friends. Like, why didn't anyone tell me? I was like, I don't know. I don't know how you tell someone that, but it was just not okay. I saw this picture and I was like, nope. And
this isn't just about like the weight being an issue. You can tell when you look at a photo.
No, I was sad. I was like depressed.
Yeah, that you just didn't look happy.
I mean, the weight was you know, part of, it was a cherry on top. But just seeing that, I looked at me and I was like, just unhappy. Nothing would make me happy. Nothing. Like nothing. There's nothing I could do that would just make me smile. And if it did, it was fake. And so, yeah, I realized that I was severely depressed, like severely depressed. And coming out of that relationship and just being like, okay, I'm not going to do what I normally do and go get drunk all the time and just avoid. I got to change something. And I started just looking into what I can do. I started seeing a therapist there. That's a whole other story. But yeah.
Yeah. So
I needed to change.
You did. And so when we got together, you know, we moved out here. You moved here to Austin. Was a good move for you.
Great.
And we'll get into that because she's staying here.
Yeah.
But I decided quickly into it that I was going to stop drinking again. That direction that we were going in was not going to work, and cut that back, and you supported that. And I think we both really pulled back.
Oh yeah.
Because you were supporting me and there was no reason to drink because I wasn't drinking, which then I also am a workout freak and that's been part of my journey. And you really did jump into that. Like, how has that been part of your mental health, losing the weight, getting in shape? What does all that look like for you?
Well, I started just feeling better. You know, I saw the work you were doing. I've known you for a long time. And I saw, because when you're with someone like that on an everyday basis, you know them more than anyone else. And so I saw the positive impact on you. And and I've been in a situation where they were also doing that, like my past relationship. And it was just like, I couldn't do it. And I finally got to the point where I wanted it. And so I did it for myself. But when I finally made the decision to do it and I'm with someone that's actively living that lifestyle, it took off from there. And then I started seeing like results of just me being healthy and happy and smiling and being myself and being more vulnerable and out there. Like, I'm more of an introvert. You're obviously not. And so like you got me to like speak up and like just kind of like put myself out there, and I just wanted to do more and more. And then, you know, you talked to me about your therapist, and
my therapist, Mark, is
an alien
from another planet.
He's
amazing. And he's worked with me for the last 2 years, and he has truly helped me, like truly helped me. And so we decided to see him together. And we saw him a few times just to help out. And then eventually, you know, Jenny's here, like he was open to having that relationship with her, and they've now been on their own journey. Yeah. So what has it been like for you seeing Mark?
Well, so any therapist I've ever had has been female. Nothing wrong with that. I never thought I would see him. I don't know why. I just always, when I was searching, I don't know why maybe it's mommy issues. Who knows? That's the whole thing. But
yeah, I mean,
maybe that's what it is. But once I saw him, and yes, he's also amazing, and I've heard all that from you, I was like, oh my God, I instantly felt safe. And like, then I was like, well, there's really no men in my life. Maybe that makes sense because I know it helped you.
Massively. Yeah.
It was just, I mean, it was after the first session with him, because I went before we went together. So I did have a session with him first, and I was like, holy shit, I see what you mean. Like, he's just on another level. And I just was like, let's do this. Like, I'm not, like, let's do it. Whatever you want.
But you're like really doing it. Like you did your first deep dive with him.
I did. And I asked him, I was like, you know, it's only been a few months. He's like, I have someone I've seen for 6 years that's never done one. Or you did a big one after 2 years. And I'm like, just take it out of me. Like, whatever it is, I want it gone. Like, what do we got to do?
Yeah.
And I did one. And then I have a big one coming up in a few weeks that involves plant medicine, and I'm ready.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What has been the hardest part for you doing this healing work?
The hardest part, I think, like the inner child stuff, you get sad. I think you get sad for that little kid.
A lot.
Really,
yeah,
really
it's
sad.
like heartbreaking.
And hard, but also beautiful, because I think, and we've talked about this, and I talked about it with Mark, like seeing you be a mom to your daughter, like, on an everyday basis, it really brings that out. And then when I told you that, you're like, absolutely. And I told Mark, he's like, absolutely. You're gonna, especially people that become parents, or if they're just around that, you see what you lacked, and it makes you more sad, but so happy that she gets that and that you get to do that. So yeah, I think the hardest part is just feeling so bad for the little one.
The little girl in you.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that you're healing, like you had brought up, like are the mom issues, right? I was really diving into dad issues. You're really diving into
it's deep
to mom issues. This stuff is deep and it plays a really big role. I think we both didn't. We went through so many years partying in San Francisco, partying in West Hollywood, like in and out of relationships. And I think both of us can say, like, we know, like, we have ignored like a lot of loss that we haven't grieved.
Oh, yeah.
Lack of having certain types of love in our life and parents in our life. And I think both of us are very similar in terms of we create our own family.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of it. So now you diving back into the little you and trying to heal her so that you can show up for yourself and for your relationships and all those things. Okay, we're coming back in. Take 2. This is real and raw. And
4K video was so large.
Take 2. So where we finished off was more of the hard part about the healing work. And you said, like we were talking about, it was a lot of the tears. And when you were explaining it, so you've had the mom issues, or like, I hate saying it, it's like daddy issues, mom issues, but it is what it is.
I got them.
Yeah.
And there's probably daddy ones too.
Oh, for sure. I had some mom ones in there too. But you're watching me every day now parent a little girl in a way that you didn't get. Right?
Yes.
Like every day it's in your face as you're also going and healing that little girl. Explain a little bit to anyone like watching, like, how is that? Is it helpful?
Yes. It is very helpful. It is, it actually, I think if I wasn't on the path already of doing the work, I would have been like, what's going on? Why am I just like crying all of a sudden? Why is this so emotional for me the way I see you with her? Like, what is happening? And we probably would have had a conversation. You would have been like, that might be something you want to work on. So like, I think it would have naturally gone there. And when I brought it up to him, you know, we really dove into like why it affects me and the lack of it and how I need to do that work. And I want to make a point, like, tons of people see therapists all the time, and you go and you talk about your problems and your shitty job and all that stuff. This is like so different. The deep work is very different. And you know, a lot of us have done that, but I don't know if it's 90%. I don't know. I don't think if I pick 10 people right now, I could pick one that's doing this work. Like in my family, like I have a cousin. Hi, Bri. He has done the work and he's healing people and helping people, but I don't know many people that really dive in. And when someone asked me about it and I talked about it, I feel like I sound crazy.
Yeah.
Like I am a completely different person than I was a year ago. And you are.
100%.
And I've witnessed it.
Yeah. And I've witnessed you.
But I feel like I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like so far in the beginning. I have so much to do, but I already, so being around you and seeing that and really it affecting my inner child, and what you don't know, you don't know. I knew there was shit. We all have shit. We don't play the victim card. We're very big on that, but you can't avoid it. And I got so good at avoiding, so good, like the master of avoidance.
When you said like, you know, not many people, when you were like maybe not going to do this interview, I was like, well, there goes that conversation, because we were both like, well, who do we know that's like doing this work? Hardly anyone. Like, we know a few people, but like, it's not a common thing that we like can sit down and talk to our friends about, like, what are you like deeply healing? What do you work at? Like, this has become like something that you and I are really committed to. And
also, like, no judgment though. Like, it's
yeah,
hard. One, I literally had a woman therapist falling asleep as I was talking to her. I was like, well, this sucks. Like, I had another one that just stared at me and never gave me any feedback or talk. Like, I've just not had good ones. And so if I didn't keep going, I would just assume they were all whatever.
yeah, you got to find a good one.
But
You got to
like,
find a good
really
therapist.
dive in. And, my deep dive was, it's a version of hypnotherapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still can come out of it. I'm very aware of what's going on. And then you can go beyond that and you get deeper and do other stuff. But like, yeah, it's no judgment. Like, I'm not sitting here saying you're an idiot for not going. Like, it's hard. It's really hard. And unfortunately, it can be expensive, right? Like, people that can't do it, the
Mm-hmm.
state funded stuff, it's not necessarily good. And but it's different than just going to see a weekly therapist to talk about
Yeah,
your
this
problems.
isn't like a weekly check-in to like, oh, I was kind of stressed at work or anything. This is like, I'm about to revisit the child in me that went through some terrifying things, and I'm going to feel that pain, and I'm going to take on that pain, and I'm going to love her and heal her, and to get back into your life after these type of sessions and to go back into reality. I mean, you can't come out the same and you are just heavy with emotion. Do you think that because you and I have been doing this together and witnessing each other heal, that is probably why we're still able to remain as close as we are as we're transitioning back into friendship?
Yeah. I also, you know, whatever that looks like in the future for who I'm supposed to be with or how that pans out, I can't imagine being with someone that's not doing the work.
No.
I can't.
No.
Like,
No.
I can't at all. But yeah, I think the number one thing I learned too is, as cliche as it sounds, is communication is the most important thing in a relationship.
That's
The
literally what my first interview Aaron said.
Thing.
Yes.
Like, it's,
yes.
But not just like, oh, we're talking about it, we're checking in. Like, say the shit that hurts, that you're like, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I'm so sorry. This is probably going to be horrible. And you've told me some shit that I'm like, fuck. Like, and I'm like, but thank you. Like, thank you for not lying. Thank you for not holding this in, because when you can get real and raw and like, that's a whole nother level of a relationship that I've ever had, ever.
Yeah, same. And I think that if you remain that way the whole time and you're healing together, I believe, and Mark believes that, I know this for me, like, you gave me a really safe space that was really calming in a way that I'm not used to, that was really peaceful in a way that I'm not, that was safe because I've known you and your love, that it gave me this permission, because I'm a mom who's got to show up for a daughter, but I'm also trying to heal, right? Like, it gave me this permission to like kind of step back in some ways and let you take on some stuff and let me just like do the work I needed to do. I don't know that, like, I believe that we were supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, hold that space for one another. And
Yeah.
then I've seen just the space that I've created for you, maybe with the complete honesty and the transparency and you watching me do the work, but like, I feel like it also created a space for you then.
Yeah, you were
to do it.
I think because you've done a lot of this and you know what to expect. And you told me, and you told a couple friends that I've started doing some of this stuff, is like, you're like, oh, you're just gonna randomly cry, like random cry, like not at a sad commercial,
No.
just like today's a good day. And then I'm just,
Yeah.
it hits me and I'm like, what is wrong with me? And you said,
I said, you just
when
cry.
you start doing this work, you just cry. And I've cried so much this last year, which is also great, right?
Here's my next question then. Why is it important for you to heal that inner child?
Because I want her to know that it's okay, that nothing was her fault, that she's loved, that she's worthy. And I want to be that evolved person. I want to be, no one's ever going to have it all figured out, ever. I'm going to make mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've hurt people. I don't want to hurt people anymore. Like, it's important to heal that, because this is where this all stems from. My fear of abandonment. I didn't break up with anyone I was ever with when it was to the point where it was done, because I was afraid of just the abandonment and being alone and all that. And I hurt those people. And I just don't, if I heal that inner child, then it starts with her and she's okay. And then we can attack anything and she feels safe and we can conquer anything.
What are you afraid of diving into this stuff? Like before your next deep dive, what are you afraid of as you continue to go down this?
I'm afraid of some stuff I might find out because that's normal and happens. I know I'll be okay, but I'm afraid of that. In a lot of ways, I'm afraid of letting go. You let go of your control.
Your narrative, your identity.
I know how to close up when something's happening to me, and I don't do that anymore. I'm really aware of it. So letting go, or letting go of people in your life that maybe it's time to let go of them, which I know you've done.
Bye.
But
you have to. I just want to note on that, like you have to. When you're shedding your skin and you're changing who you are and you're changing your identity, like Joe Dispenza, who we love, like your personality is your reality. So the people that you're holding around, the space, the food that you eat, the stuff that you read, the things that you put into your mind, that's what you become. So if you stick with all the same things you were doing and all the same people that maybe weren't feeding you that, then that's what you are. So there's no way to like create a new reality for yourself or create a new personality for yourself or a new identity if you don't change what you're putting into your soul, right? Into your energy. And sometimes that happens to be people.
Yeah.
And it's not even like it's not a bad thing or a mean thing. It's just that's not feeding the soul anymore. And a lot of people avoid doing these deep dives in these therapy sessions. And I know through some of my coaching because they are afraid of change. They don't want to change. They're addicted to the trauma. They're addicted to the story they've told themselves, and they don't want to feel the pain that you're about to feel.
Yeah.
So they just don't do it.
And even in my mini one, I've already felt so much pain. And I'm like, and I mean, to be fully transparent, you do a deep dive of whatever level, and it takes a good like 48 hours to really get into your system and really feel it. And then it takes like a week or two to be like, okay, now I need to like dissect this. And then you go out and talk about it. We literally like broke up within 24 hours of it. So then I was like, okay, I need to process all this and like, what is this? And so now that I'm past that and it's, you know, a couple weeks later, I'm now revisiting that deep dive and focusing on what that was and what happened in that. And I literally outer body experience. I was standing behind my like 5-year-old self. It was wild. So now I'm like reliving that. And now I'm going through what I would have gone through like 2 weeks ago after it and actually like processing it.
I do think though, even though I hijacked your experience,
you did.
I do think that us breaking up and going into this while you were also healing that on some point and some level later on is going to be a massive part of your healing because it does show you there is an abandonment. This isn't a level of losing someone.
Yeah.
And so much of that is like what you hang on to when things go too long.
Yeah.
So to experience that and be doing the work at the same time, even though it's hard to acknowledge that right now, you know, I think it will show you that like not every person that you let go of in certain ways or things that change are leaving you.
No, and that's absolutely what I'm learning. And I mean, one of the craziest things is I'm someone that suffers from anxiety like a lot of people. Outside of sadness and like mourning and the normal stuff that comes with it, and even just what I'm processing from that experience with my childhood stuff that I just saw, like honestly, I haven't been anxious the last 3 weeks, which is crazy. I would like be not eating, like I've been to the gym, I've been eating, I haven't been anxious, like, and it's also the stuff I'm learning and the things that I do on a daily basis to help me with that.
Well, that was my question then. Like, what tools have you learned over the last year that you are doing that are helping you navigate through this experience different than you have in the past?
I was talking to a friend of mine like last week, and she's doing the work and way ahead of herself because she's in her 20s doing it. And I was like, God, I just wish. And she was like, we're given this toolbox during this that we can carry along with us. And then something happens and we know which tool to pull out. And I thought that was really cute because I was like, oh yeah, you're right. And so
what are your tools?
There's the normal, easy accessible stuff, like meditation and breath work and podcasts and learning. I'm like in a learning phase right now. I want to learn all about this. So yes, Joe Dispenza, all that. Like
we love Joe.
I know. We're going to watch Joe later. Yeah. But the daily, I wake up every morning, and whether it's a meditation or an affirmation or whatever, I have some soft music on and I say the same stuff every morning. and I'm grateful and I practice gratitude and I breathe and I take walks and I go to the gym, even if I don't want to, because I'm like, and I go, and I'm not drinking. I drink here and there, but I'm not drinking when I'm feeling like down. And communication, and I'm picking up the phone and calling my people as opposed to sitting here in it by myself. And I am allowing myself to sit in it though. That is yes. But I'm not like hiding. I used to like be a recluse when I was going through shit. And people were like, "Does anyone talk to Jenny?" Like, and I'm if I'm feeling something I need to talk, I'm reaching out. And I'm being honest and open and really pushing myself to not avoid.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Like, not
watching. I'm
avoid.
watching you. You know, sometimes in a relationship, like you can take on the other person's like patterns, and I'm doing the healing work, so you're doing it, and I'm not drinking, so you're not drinking, right? Or I'm going to the gym, so you go to the gym. And since this has ended, like nothing has changed for you. It has become your lifestyle. It has become your habits and your personality now because it has stayed. If anything, yeah, like you haven't reverted back to any of that or sat with anxiousness or been any of that, which shows that you're like, this is your personal journey. This actually no longer has anything to do with.
I'm not going back.
Yeah, you're not going back so much. You're not going back home. You're not going back to any of it. Like you're in your future. You're in your now and you're in your future. And like I get to witness this. That's why I wanted to have you be like doing this conversation with me, because I don't get to witness a lot of people in it, like doing it, actively doing it. How has it made your life better?
Oh, I feel more free. I feel healthy, aware.
You look better.
I look better, physically feel better, and look better. Thank you.
Killing it with the guns today.
I just have a new outlook. I don't know. I want to evolve. I just want to keep being a better human. I'm, for the first time ever, can say I'm a good partner. Like I feel like I really know how to love someone now, and show up and be consistent.
And this is the first time you kind of showed yourself, right? That you were able to say, I really did.
Oh yeah.
Show up.
Oh yeah.
In the
I'm
best
usually
way.
Like, fuck, I was an asshole.
Yeah.
Geez, like, I was this, I was that. And now I'm like, no. I have nothing bad to say, and I'm not trying to like.
No,
is there anything bad?
No,
like I have nothing bad to say about the last year of showing up for my partner.
Absolutely.
And that is a really amazing feeling because I applied.
You did.
I wanted to do the work and I stayed dedicated to it. And I was like, okay, let's communicate. This is gonna be hard, but let's talk about it. I'm not gonna run. And there was a couple times where you're like, you're shutting down. I'm like, oh, you're right. Thank you for calling me out. And I snapped out.
You did. It was like quick.
Yeah.
You went there quick and then you were out of it quick. But also because I over communicate, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then you came back, you know?
Good for me. Yeah.
Yes, I think you get to learn and take away that like you do know how to have a relationship. You know how to show up. You know how to be healthy for yourself and for your partner. So that's a beautiful thing to take out of this entire experience, because the narrative was always that you're a shitty partner.
Yeah. And I mean, in some way too, just being able to be around, can I say Frankie's name?
Yeah.
Frankie,
my daughter,
is, I can see that I can also be a good parent in a way. Like I know that if that's in the cards for me, like I got it.
You've got it.
Yeah.
I mean, she adores you. My next question is, this thing just got busy. How do you envision then your future in the next year?
I'm really focusing on in the moment. So what I envision is keep doing the work, the hard work, showing up, but not looking too much in the future is what I actually envision, because I have a tendency to like build all this stuff in the future, and what they say, it read the other 85% of the stuff you're anxious about doesn't happen. And so I can manifest and like build a beautiful life for myself and see that and envision that, which I do. But right now I envision like really living in the moment and not dwelling on the past or like being too focused on the future, and just working on me on a daily basis.
And what is the one thing that you're most proud of in yourself over this last year in this journey?
That I'm most proud of. I think just sticking with it. I think that a lot of people,
Consistency.
Being consistent, and a lot of people Especially if you get to that scary stuff. They're like, I didn't like that, and they stop. And I'm not going to stop.
No. And a lot of times, like a breakup or something really traumatic or heartbreaking is when you go, oh, fuck, life is hard. Here we go again. Life is hard. This is, fuck this.
I'm like,
fuck. And you were like, I'm fucking walking through this.
No, I'm literally like, what's next?
Yeah.
Because on the other side of anything that's negative is something fucking really beautiful. And I'm like, bring it. And
it's the sweet and sour.
It really is.
You cannot enjoy the sweet if you don't know the sour. You cannot enjoy the good in life if you don't know the bad. You can't sit in a moment of bliss and be in it if you don't know what it feels like to not be in it. You can't enjoy it.
Yeah. I would normally be like, oh, this is going to suck. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And I'm like, bring it. Like, I'm ready. I'm open to whatever's coming my way. I will handle anything that's bad or sad. I'm in a really good place, and it's a really good feeling.
So what would be your advice to somebody who is about to start doing this work?
Fucking do it. Like, do it. Dive in. Don't run from it. We really only have one shot at life. So, like, why would anyone want to live in, like, mediocrity? Like, just do it. Because I look around and we talk about this, and people we know and we love, and we wish that like they could propel themselves to this and do it. And I feel sad because it would just make their life so much better.
And you and I have grown up watching people that we love not do the work, and you know, these people get older and older and older
lots
and
of
older.
Addicts,
Lots of
yeah,
like pain. And like you mentioned, and I want to like say that again, that's one of the things I respect the most about you is that you are not a victim. My tolerance for like the woe is me is probably like right here. So knowing you and everything you've been through, and knowing that you haven't played the victim card, and that everything you've gotten to is like self-made, you've gotten yourself there on your own. It's not a sad story. And then you're willing to, like, without ever having those tools as a kid, figure them out as an adult, and then just take it on. And in the midst of dealing with all of this, you're also dealing with a whole nother level of pain with your mom while going through healing with your mom. Then you're dealing with living with me while dealing with grieving me, and you're not falling apart. And you're like, you're emotional and you cry and you're feeling it, but you really are walking through it. So when I say like people, these type of things happen, and it becomes an excuse to drink more, to eat more, to check out, to not keep going. And I had a client ask me the other day, like, I want to do it. Like, when do I start? Now.
Yeah.
Like now.
Yeah. Yeah. And back to like the drinking and the medicating and all that. Yes. In that moment, it feels good. And that next morning, I'm just riddled with anxiety. And I'm like, it's awful. And yeah, I wish everyone could do, I don't know. I feel like I sound crazy. Like, it's just a whole other
thing. A whole other level. One of my clients said, Romi, you're cuckoo. Remember, like, when I first started, she goes, how did you get like this? And I was like, I was not always like this. This was not how we were. But once you get a taste of like a little bit of enlightenment and a little bit of healing and a little bit of like tapping into that, like, we're both really, you become like hungry. So the addiction and the addictive part of us is now at least addicted to a healthy
I was just
journey
yesterday to Joe Dispenza, that podcast with I can't think of his name, Lewis, and he was talking about this. It was like 2.5 hours long, but one part of it was like how your body like really has everything you need to heal itself, like every single thing in it. And your mind is like, shift your mind, shift your life. And I say that every day, shift your mind, shift your life. And it just sounds woohoo, but I don't.
Even if it's woohoo and it's crazy, whatever you and I have been studying, practicing, applying to our life, we're more at peace.
Absolutely. More at peace. Yeah. And I mean, and I'll just say, like, you talked about like going through any sort of pain and not avoiding it, which is what I'm doing with anything that I face. But even when I brought that to Mark, and he's like, honestly, the faster you can heal, like, you can just run straight through something and just feel it. And there are days where I'll cry about anything, And there are days where I'm good. And there are days where, and I just sit there and I let myself cry. I'm like, okay, I got to get through this. I'm okay. Like, I just feel it. And if you feel it and go through it and push yourself, you're going to get through it faster. And that's like, you know, if you keep medicating and like doing the same old shit and avoiding, it's never going to get healed. I took relationship to relationship to relationship, the same fucking shit.
You took the same exact shit. And
Yeah.
I took, both of us did. And I think I'm excited to see what the next chapter looks like for you. I'm excited to still be a part of it. I love you. I just can't wait to see what you do moving through it. You know, like you've been able to watch even the tiny bit of what I've done, and I'm not even there yet either, coming through it, right? And getting on the other side of things, you know? Yeah, like
that's a whole other
session.
That was a miracle that I saw with you.
Really. It was a miracle that I experienced. And so you and I knowing that can happen and then watching you, like where you're going to be on the other end, it's really fucking exciting. And knowing that like you're freshly going to stay in Austin, you're going to create your life here. You know, you're not running back and you're just like full speed.
We will see. Bring it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. You made it through that without crying.
I did.
I'm so proud of you.
I even have Kleenex ready to go.
She's got Kleenex over here. And yeah, I love you.
I love you.
All right. We're signing off. Bye, guys.